Here are your 3.1 notes on simplifying expressions. Remember to pause the video as you're watching so you can record the information into your own notes. Remember to write in pencil in case you make a mistake. So the first thing we do when we're simplifying expressions is we write the expression. We have the expression here, 6d minus 5 minus 4d plus 6. I've written it down. Next, I am going to identify the like terms. If we look here, I have two sets of like terms. We can see right here that 6d and minus 4d both have the same variable raised to the same power, so they're like terms. We can also see that minus 5 and plus 6 are both numbers without variables, so they are also like terms. Next, I am going to rewrite any subtraction as plus a negative. Now, this is something we haven't done before, so pay really close attention. Like, hello, are you listening? Pay attention. Okay, good. So, when we rewrite things as, we write any subtraction as plus a negative, what that means is, for example, you can see right here that I have 10 minus 6. Well, instead of calling this 10 minus 6, I'm going to rewrite this as 10 plus a negative 6. Okay? Another example might be if I have x minus 4, I would rewrite that as x plus a negative 4. The reason we do this is because it makes it easier to simplify. So you can see in my example problem right here, I have my minus 5 and I wrote that as plus negative 5. And I also had a minus 4d and wrote that as plus negative 4d. Okay? So now that you've rewritten all of your subtraction operations as plus a negative instead, you can move on to the next step. The next step is we need to group all like terms. I've identified my like terms, but now I'm just putting them into groups. So my like terms that I identified right here was 60 and negative 40. They were like terms, and negative 5 and 6. So you can see that I've grouped them according to like terms. This is one group, this is another group. Now I'm going to combine like terms. My first group of like terms was 6d and negative 4d, which equals 2d when they are combined. So combining like terms is just like adding the terms together. So if we look here, I have my 60 and my negative 40. When we combine 6 and negative 4, that equals 2d. And that's where that 2 came from. We've done nothing to our variable, this d, so that just stays there. Okay? And then next we look at our other set of like terms, which is negative 5 and 6. When we combine negative 5 and 6, we get a positive 1. Again, just kind of thinking this as, negative 5 plus 6 is going to give me a positive 1. Now that we've combined our like terms, we're ready to go to the next step. And in this last step, all you're doing is putting the terms back into expression form. So if we look here, we have a 2d, and we write our 2d here. And if we look, we have a 1, so we write our 1 here. Our expression then is 2d plus 1. You are now done simplifying this expression. Please try this next one on your own. So pause the video, try it, and then check your work. You should have gotten the answer 2 plus 5p plus 2q as your simplified expression. If you do not understand this, make sure you check in with me tomorrow so we can review. Okay, now we are going to do one more practice simplifying expressions The only difference is this one is going to include distribution. So you can see here with distribution. And how do we know if it has distribution? That's when you see any number or variable outside of parentheses without adding or subtracting. So you see we have our 3 here. We have this expression in our parentheses, but there is nothing separating these two things. So that means that we have to distribute. So after we've written our expression, the first thing we do is distribute. When we distribute, we are multiplying the term outside the parentheses by both things in the parentheses. So first we're going to do 3 times q. And 3 times q is equal to 3q. Next, we are going to multiply 3 times 1. And 3 times 1 is 3. And this is a positive 1, so we'll write this as plus 3. Now we have this minus 4 outside the parentheses. Because this subtraction sign for minus 4 separates our parentheses with the number 4, we do not multiply. We simply just write this as minus 4. Now we're ready to move to the next step. And the next steps are just following exactly what we did before. So the next thing we need to do is identify our like terms. 3 and minus 4 are like terms because they are both numbers without variables. And then all we're left with is 3q, and 3q does not have any like terms. The next step is we are going to rewrite any subtraction as plus a negative. We have here, you can see we have minus 4, and we've changed that to plus a negative 4. Now that we have rewritten any subtraction as plus a negative, we can move on to our next step. The next step is we have to group our like terms. We look here. We identified our like terms, so now all we're doing is putting them into groups. We have 3 and negative 4, and we have 3q. We've grouped our like terms. Next, you are going to combine like terms. So we combine 3 and negative 4, and that gave us negative 1. And there was nothing to combine 3q with, so that just stays the way it is. After we've combined our like terms, we put the terms back into expression form. And you can see here, we just took our negative 1 and wrote it as a negative 1. And we have our 3q here, and we wrote that as 3q. Now we are done simplifying this expression with distribution. I would like you to pause the video, try this next one on your own, and then check back to see if your answer is correct. Again, if you're confused or you don't understand something, please come see me in class tomorrow and we'll figure it out. Thanks for sticking with me. This was a super long video. You guys rock. We'll see you tomorrow.